Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Someday I'll Have a Podcast. My name is Ren. I'm your host. And this podcast is basically a little bit of everything. You can expect literally anything, kind of stream of consciousness, kind of just whatever I feel like talking about that day. Today, I'm switched up where I'm sitting. I'm usually lounging in my bed, cuddled up when I'm recording. But today, I'm sitting in my cute little living room. I've got my Christmas tree up, the lights, the tinsel, filming a vlog for Vlogmas. If you found this randomly on the internet, I have a YouTube channel. And right now, it's December. It's Vlogmas, which is like a YouTube phenomenon where people videotape their daily life in December leading up to Christmas. It's really just a fun little time to have. And it's the season of giving. I have been focusing a lot more in the last couple of years on being a good gift giver. I love receiving gifts. I truly do, partly because I'm a cheap ass and don't buy things for myself often. So like when I get a gift of something, whether I like asked for it or it's something that I had my eye on or not, it's just wonderful because I generally don't let myself splurge, specifically on things. If you're familiar with my YouTube channel or me as a person or whatever, I spent a lot of my money on like experiences, on travel, on music festivals, on, experiencing new things. But with that being said, I often don't, I don't buy a lot of things, even like necessary things that are necessary that I need to buy. I hate spending money on. And so I don't know. I love receiving gifts. I really do. And I love the thought that goes into gift giving. I love being on the receiving end of that because in a lot of ways it makes me feel like special. Like, I don't know, my top love languages, I think gift giving is like 3 or 4. So it's not like high up on the list, but like, even for example, when I was living with my parents, sometimes my mom would come home with just like something she saw like from a garage sale that she thought of me and she grabbed it, and it's just like, it's thoughtful. And little things like that, like my friend at work, Dave, brings me coffee often, and it's the thought behind it, and it's like, wow, this person, either thought of me while I wasn't around or cares about me enough to like grab something for me. Like, I don't know, it's just receiving gifts, I feel like is special. But with that being said, I feel like a lot of times lately, I've been really tuned into being a good gift giver, not just a good gift receiver. Like last year, I feel like I put a lot of energy into giving good gifts for my family. I don't buy for a ton of people around the holidays. I pretty much my mom, my dad, my sister, a friend or two sometimes. But it's pretty small, And I didn't really want to turn this into a episode about gift giving because this is totally not the direction I wanted to go. I just kind of started rambling, which is, it's what you can expect from this podcast. This podcast is very stream of consciousness, just me yapping into a microphone as the thoughts pop up in my head. But, oh shit, where was I going with that? Gift giving. Oh, last year I gave my sister for Christmas a gift I took her to high tea at the Drake Hotel, which is like this fancy hotel in downtown Chicago. And I don't know, it's just the thoughtfulness behind gift giving has gotten me really excited over the last few years. But kind of circling back to what I started with about buying myself gifts, or like not me being a cheap ass, and like, I feel like personally, and I guess I see this in other people often too, is like we minimize the little pleasures of life. So like, I think what I'm getting at here is that we need to not minimize the things that make us happy, since there's so much value in the little joys. For example, getting my nails done. A, essentially pointless. B, costs a lot of money. But on the flip hand, or on the flip side of it, on the other hand, it makes me feel pretty. It makes me feel excited. It makes me feel fresh and fun. Like, even though it's so like, it's cosmetic, and it's like kind of against everything I believe in. But at the same time, it's like, it's so fun. And like, I always feel like I have to justify when I'm getting my nails done, the money that I'm spending on it. When in reality, like, that's something that we kind of need to cut out, right? I feel like they're the little things that make us happy, whether it's a coffee in the morning, a donut, getting your nails done, having a drink when you're out with your friends, like where you're putting your money, like you work for that money. And so I feel like we shouldn't feel like we have to justify the little pleasures or minimize the value of that. And honestly, it doesn't even have to be monetarily. I feel like I'm talking a lot about money spending, and that's because like that's the way it shows up in my life. But like we shouldn't be feeling bad for taking a nap in the middle of the day. If it's something that makes us feel good, if it's one of those little pleasures, like we should be accepting that and valuing that. I feel like that also goes back to the argument of like toxic productivity. Like we don't always have to be working, whether that's working at your job or like working on your house or on your podcast or on this, that, or other. Like we deserve, as human beings, we deserve and require time to do nothing and embrace those little pleasures, whatever that looks like for you. And we don't need to justify it. So I was talking to a friend of mine recently too about like the idea of laziness. Here I am looking up the definition. Give me 1 second. Okay, laziness, the quality of being unwilling to work or use energy, idleness. And the connotation around that, it's like so negative, but it's like we require and deserve idleness. Like it doesn't always have to be productive. Life doesn't always have to be achieving X, Y, and Z. Why can't we just sometimes relax, you know? And I think that, I don't know, I was talking to my friend and he was saying like the word laziness was like not created, but like the connotation of it shifted back in during like the Industrial Revolution or something like that, because big businesses and like CEOs and big bosses and big companies wanted to shape the way that the little employees were looked at, and like, oh, call them lazy for not wanting to show up and not wanting to work. I feel like I'm not explaining this well enough. Give me a second. I'm going to do a little bit of research because I'm just talking out of my ass at the moment. Oh my gosh, now I'm getting really deep into this and I'm recording absolutely nothing. Please hold. Okay, at the moment, I can't find anything about the story that my friend told me about, like, the reason the word lazy came onto the scene in our modern use of the word. But whether it's true or not, I do think it's an interesting idea, like, whoever came up with that. I don't know. Back to the core of basically just what I wanted to talk about was that, like, there is so much value in the little things. I think I touched on this in one of my last episodes, but the idea of like the little moments matter, and the little moments are really what make up the entirety of our beautiful blossoming lives. And so I think it's important to take a step back and assess, what is it in your life? What are those little things that bring you pleasure, that bring you joy, that, you know, maybe like often is looked at in a way that's like unapproved, or like that you feel like you have to justify to yourself. If you're spending $6 a day on coffee, but that's what, you know, makes you happy and gets you through the day, then so freaking be it. Spend that $6 and you don't have to justify it, because it's your money, it's your energy, it's your life. And even if it's the things that are really superficial, I feel like my views have changed a lot recently, because for a long time, my human judgmental self was telling me like, oh, people who get like this or that done like cosmetically, like people who get like people who get like body alterations and like it's so superficial and like it's fake and why would anyone want that? But I feel like I've really had to like retrain my brain and be like, no, that's in the same way people probably look at me and it's like, if like she's gonna spend all this money doing like these stupid freaking festivals, like really, for like backing it up, who am I to judge anyone else and what their decisions are? If getting a boob job is what's going to bring a smile to your face, then so freaking be it. And who the hell am I to say that that's fake or superficial or whatever? I mean, sure, the boobs essentially are fake by definition, but that's besides the point. Like, why, like, I should be still seeing the value in that if it's those bringing those simple pleasures. I can't, like, you don't have to justify that to yourself or anyone else. It's just something that makes you happy, right? And at the end of the day, it's your life, it's your body, and you deserve that happiness. And it's funny because, like, I like to think I'm so open-minded and, you know, judgment-free. And I do try my best to be, but at the same time, like, I find myself having these thoughts and these notions, and then I'm like, yo, Ren, slow the frick down, because just in the way that you hate when people make up these ideas of you and your decisions, you're turning around and doing the same thing. That's not fair, and that's honestly against what you're preaching. So practice what you preach, girl. Practice what you preach, girl. And it comes back down to it of like, shit, it ain't hurting me, it ain't hurting anyone, then it's fair game. And everyone should have that freedom and feel comfortable in that freedom to just have those simple pleasures without justification to oneself or to anyone else. Right? Wow, I feel like I'm just processing this as I'm speaking into this microphone. And that's pretty cool. Like, I love sharing things with people, but I feel like in doing so, I'm also figuring out my own things and processing my own thoughts in life. This is a really cool experience. Honestly, that is so cool. So when it comes down to it, in this season of giving, give to everyone all around you. Not even monetarily, not even gifts necessarily, but give your gifts. Give your gifts and everything that you have to offer, your energy, give that out. But also give to yourself. Give yourself the permission to indulge in those simple pleasures. Give yourself the joy of those simple pleasures, whatever that looks like to you. Don't minimize the value in that. And give love unconditionally to the people around you and to yourself. Remind yourself to look past the perceived ideas of the people around you and of yourself when you look in the mirror. Let go of any judgments. Take quiet moments. Bless yourself with quiet moments to see what you're doing, how you're reacting, and allow yourself the utmost of joy. Is that even like a word? The utmost of joy? Does that even like, is that a sentence that makes sense? Probably, I don't know. You tell me. I feel like it was just worth talking about. Maybe it's because I needed to tell myself these things, but I hope that if you stumbled upon this podcast, if you clicked on this episode, that this is something that you also needed to hear and think about. Hell yeah. This is a short little episode, I feel like, but I feel like it was worth the chat for myself, hopefully for you. Hopefully you have something to take away from this. I love that. Also, on another completely separate note, Spotify did their Spotify Wrapped year in review. Oh my gosh. I have great music taste. In my at this first episode of Vlogmas. I don't know what will be out first, this podcast episode or the episode of Vlogmas week 1, but I do have a reaction to my Spotify Wrapped. All the songs, podcasts, artists I listened to, how I listened in 2022. And at the base of everything is music, right? So I'm going to be sharing that. The link will be I can put the link in the show notes of the playlist of my top 100 songs, but I'll also have the reaction video up on my YouTube channel, which you can always find in the little description here of the show. So hell yeah, go check that out. Share your music with me, please. Share your top songs of 2022 with me. I would love to know. I'm always searching for new music. I listened to like 91 genres this year. Like, how was that even real? Like, that was a cool thing. But yeah, I'd love if you checked out that video, subscribe to my channel over there. And I just really want to say thanks for being here. With that being said, I do feel like I have to still share a specific song. So let me see what I got here. On repeat, my top song of 2022 was Gay For Me by Lauren Sanderson and G Flip. Such a freaking jam. Literally such a sexy song. Like, sexy. It was, my top 5 songs were like sassy, sexy. And I'm like, that's really sums up what 2022 was for me, honestly. But I don't remember if I've shared that one on this podcast yet. If I have, this is just your encouragement to actually go listen to it if you haven't before. I'm gonna leave it at that. And thank you for listening. Thank you so much for tuning into this short little episode of Someday I'll Have a Podcast. And honestly, I just want to encourage you to make your someday today. Go do that thing that you're trying to do today. Someday today.